What's good, everybody? How's everything going? It's good, Digital.
What's good?
Back. So tonight we're going to talk about Welcome to Derry or It Welcome to Derry episodes 1 through 4. Give our opinions, pretty much a review, but really it's a free flow. Just kind of talking about each episode or quick thoughts on the first half, essentially. So there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't watched the show yet, this would not be something you want to watch or listen to. But yeah, let's get right into it. So my thoughts on the first 4 episodes, I thought so far has been great. I really like that they're exploring a lot more about the origins of Pennywise or it. I like that we got we're in 1962. I like that there's just some legacy characters that's related to like Mike. We see his father who's like a kid. Will we see Leroy his grandfather? So I like that. I really like the Stephen King like universe stuff with Holland coming in as well from The Shining. I think that's pretty good to really kind of connect some stuff. This feels like what Castle Rock could have been if they kind of gave you more with certain characters or certain payoffs. This feels like right away you're in that Stephen King universe. You're sitting around Derry, and there's just so much going on. But first 4 episodes, I feel like they've been giving you some really good character development, some really good storytelling and some really good detailed background stuff. Some stuff related to the book and some stuff that's kind of new. I really like the Native American background that they gave with it. I don't think it's much in the book that I can recall, but like overall, this has been a really good show. They're not afraid to get gory and violent and really show some gross and disgusting things, like episode 1 with the childbirth, the bat birth. That was one thing I remember. I think the other thing in episode 2 was another birth. Um, Overall, it's kind of what you expect this to be and more. Digital, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I also wanted to mention about what you said about that birth scene. That's actually the same character from It Part 2, the remake one. The same baby what they used and everything, which would I wouldn't the Losers Club were actually at the restaurant and everything, you know?
Yeah, the Chinese restaurant where
Right.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was pretty cool nod. That's the other thing I like. It was a lot of nods to like the movies, but into the book. I really like there's a lot of turtle references,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool as well. This show really kind of, if you don't know much about the book, this would be a good way to kind of like see the backstory of Pennywise and it or whatever, and kind of learn more about the character, learn more about Derry, answer some questions. I think maybe the book has answered, but maybe this kind of goes more into it. Um, Obviously, it's connected to the first 2 movies because Andy Muschietti's involved. He directed the first 4 episodes. So I like the characters. Characters are pretty good too. This does feel like you don't want to get too attached because this is like the Game of Thrones of like don't get attached
Yeah,
to
I
these
think
characters.
anything goes in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it very clear in the first episode where they kill off Phil and Ted and Susie and in a violent way, which again,
Gruesome way. Yeah.
they made it very clear this is not a happy ending show. Because one, this is a prequel to Chapter 1, and two, this time evil wins. And I think that's what I'm curious about the next 4 episodes, 5, 6, 7, and 8, where like, what does Pennywise do? Because now we're at that point where we're going to get to see Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, which I think
Replaces
all of
Rose.
us,
Yeah.
yeah, which I think a lot of people like myself, including you, were just kind of like, when we're going to see Pennywise. Because I like what they're doing with the chameleon stuff and having him shapeshift and become different things like their fear, which is pretty good. And it ties into some of their story stuff and that's going on. Like with Will, he's fear of his dad being burned from
Yeah.
his acts from his incident in war. And episode 4 kind of showed a little bit of that, where like Pennywise uses that to scare him. Leroy, who I like too, the father, which we see in chapter 1, that's grandfather for
Hmm.
Mike. I really like that he has no fear and he's just analyzing things and like anybody else who's there, they're just trying to figure out, like, put pieces together. What exactly are we doing here? Which we kind of learned with Holland. Like, he's there for a specific reason, and he wasn't ready when he kind of countered Pennywise for the first time. I think in episode 3.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. What about you? What are the things you like from the show? What are the characters you like?
I like the fact that they are building up to Pennywise, but they're doing it very slowly. There is a lot of exposition on it, but I don't
Yeah,
mind that because they're making you care about these characters, and you don't know what's actually really going to happen to them because there's going to be 3 seasons of this. That's what it's green lighted for, and everything like that. which I'm excited about. I've been really looking forward to this. When I heard about it, I knew that it was going to knock it out the park. I do believe like it's going to be. I love Stranger Things, but don't get me wrong. But I think this is going to surpass Stranger Things. You know?
I mean, Stranger Things kind of took a little bit of like of it from the book. So I
Yes,
mean,
it did.
it's not like it or Penny or Welcome to Derry's taken from Stranger Things. It's the opposite.
Yeah,
You
pretty
know?
much. But this is like what they're doing with the origin story, and I understand that. We've been wanting to see this for like a very long time,
Yeah.
and it was because we were like saying like even when we start part two of like it, and you showed a little bit of like Pennywise's origin story. We didn't know what was going on, but it looks to us that he was like a man
They
back then or something.
they teased us with some stuff which had more questions that we didn't get fully answers from.
Yes,
I liked it chapter two. I know some people mix about it, but I liked it. I do think that they should have split chapter two to chapter two and chapter three, where like
correct.
we were talking about it before, where they should have had chapter two being about the adults, loser adults, kind of like trying to reunite in Derry, and Pennywise is trying to find some ways to
Yeah,
stop them as they're on their way to Maine and to Derry. Where chapter three would be like they're now reunited. Now they're trying to figure things out in chapter three.
yes,
Because it should have been three chapters. I think chapter two didn't have to be two stories in one, which I think is where it kind of dropped a little bit. But overall, I liked the movie.
yeah,
So chapter one I think was phenomenal. I think it's one of the best horror movies that we've seen. Probably one of the best remake horror movies that I could think of in recent memory.
mm,
Um, but so far, welcome to Derry. I like Ronnie. I like Will. I like Lily. I like Richie. I like the characters we've met. I know the first episode they kind of gave you Teddy and Phil, and Ted is Ted Uris, which is Stan's great uncle or uncle or however,
yeah,
probably uncle maybe or great uncle, whatever. But that was
mhm,
a pretty cool reference with that I caught, and I'm like, oh, he's Stan's great uncle or whatever.
yeah,
So I like that tie-in. We knew Will was we knew Mike's dad was gonna have a tie into this.
yep,
Um, some of the new characters, Lily, I like Lily. There's a bit of a Beverly vibe with her, but
yeah.
um, Richie, I kind of like. I like that we have another Richie in the Fran or this
That's what I
story.
wanted to ask. Like, I'm
Yeah,
getting these vibes, and I honestly thought about it. But are these the Losers Club's great great grandparents?
probably not. I mean, they kind of explored in episode four where they show the Native American, where there was some kind of a loser club
Yeah.
in that
Mhm.
form too. That also went after the ghoul. What's it called, the gulo,
Yes.
which kind of makes sense that a Native American would have a different name for it before we thought of Pennywise. And I also was a little giddy when they kind of mentioned that he came from space and he was here millions of years ago
Years
before
ago. Yeah.
mankind, which is a great, something that came from the book. I also like the turtle stuff, which has been so many references, which has
Yep.
been pretty good too. I just like some of the different shape shifting that Pennywise or it has shape shifted to, like the Skeleton Man, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think in episode three, we got a chance to see Shaw as a little boy and how he met Rose, which we learned why Shaw's back there because he hasn't forgotten what this creature was and he wants to stop it. And that was probably the most scared he's ever been in his life.
Yeah.
Um, the idea is I don't think he wants to stop it. Maybe we want to try to control it, but that's good to know that he was in Derry back in like 19, I think it was 1908.
Hmm.
That's the other thing with the show is that season one is 1962. Season two will be, I think, was it 1930, 32?
Yeah. I believe so. Yes.
No, it can't be. I don't think it's 30 years. It'll be 19 like 35 or something like that. I know, yeah, 1935. And
Yeah.
then the final season will be 1908, which will focus on what's that guy's name? Gary, the original Pennywise, the clown.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I think they're building to with season three being what inspired it to take on the form of a clown, because that's what he's known for in the movies and the book. What do you think in episode one with the pickle? Not episode one, episode one, where they saw the bat and they start tearing down the kids. I thought that was a really good scene. They made it very clear that this was not a
And
happy ending
anybody's
show.
getting it. Yeah. Anybody's
You
getting
know,
it. Nobody's safe. Yeah.
yeah, and this is the most I think we've seen Pennywise killed kids too.
Yep.
I think in this, I know he killed a few in the movies, but this was like you got a chance to
This is
really
like
kill a
on
couple
the
of kids.
on the next level of like I would say like Terrifier 3, Art the Clown. They're like, oh no, we're killing them. There's no one safe.
Yeah, there's no one safe. But so far, after that first episode, we haven't seen that many kids killed or anything. in episode 4 we saw Marjorie kind of cut her eyes.
We
Before
did
that, we
actually.
didn't.
We saw. We yeah.
Yeah,
She couldn't. She thought she was like when that happened to her
those
and everything.
slug
Eyes
bugs, whatever. Yeah,
and everything. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of the character because she's Two Face. But and that's the whole point. They set her up to not be liked, and the actress player I thought has been pretty good so far. Even all the cast members that are kids, you don't really know much about them
Nope.
as actors so far. Like this is the first time you're ready to introduce these young actors who've been very talented so far, and I really like what I'm seeing with each actor.
Yeah, it's very well done of how they're actually portraying these characters and putting a lot of life into them. You actually care for them.
Yeah. Um, episode 2 is when we meet Will and we learn about Leroy and what he's doing, and we kind of know a little bit in episode 1, but I think episode 2 we sort of explore a little more of why he's there. Holland, or Hanlon, excuse me, from The Shining, I wasn't expecting him to be in this, and that was a really cool nod to connect that to The Shining. They've done a really good job quietly connecting to other things in the Stephen King books. Not with Derry, which is another thing. It's like Shawshank, which is great. You heard a lot about Shawshank, which is awesome. I'm sure you've seen the movie with Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. So I like that we got some more nods to that. Maybe we get a
There was a
quick
lot of
scene in
Easter
Shawshank.
eggs. You noticed that
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
you know. But we get a lot more of The Shining and stuff like that, which I like. So I'm very curious to see what happens in episode 5 with Holland and that stuff. My other favorite scene was when Holland in episode 3, I think it was 3, where he meets Pennywise, the clown, where he enters and he's trying to figure that stuff out, and
Yeah.
then wasn't aware of like the entity that he's going after is more powerful than him. So he wasn't ready for that. And I'm very curious to see where we go in episode 5, 6, and 7, and 8, because they kind of tease that Pennywise is still in his head, which we kind of saw in episode 4, where like his grandmother's telling him to close the lid or be careful or whatever. And it's you're just
And
wondering, is it?
you have like that soldier like telling them like where is it and everything, and he doesn't
Yeah.
want to like give him the answers or whatever. And I honestly think like he was like forced to, even though he didn't want to.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is Holland's kind of like he knows he's out of his own league. I mean, not Holleran, excuse me. He knows he's out of his own league, and he's just trying to prepare for the worst. Really, that's kind of where he's at right now.
Yeah.
I do like his relation or his friendship with Leroy. I really like the Leroy character. I also like Charlotte too. Charlotte, you really like. You care about her a lot because she's trying to make a difference, and she's in Derry, and she's one of the few people who kind of like notices, this is not right. Going after kids, seeing kids get beat up, and hearing the whole "boys will be boys" type thing. She's kind of like the audience for, in my opinion, of like what's going on and kind of pointing it out, where everybody else is kind of like don't stir the pot or whatever. Don't stir don't rock the boat essentially. You know.
Yeah.
But she's been a good character. I do think by the end of the show we're gonna see a lot of these characters get killed. Um, we can get into that a little later. What kind of scary moments or stuff that you've liked so far?
I loved so far. There's so many like moments, but I'm gonna be real with it. I love the graveyard scene. You know.
Graveyard scene was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the theory of Phil? I think being alive.
That was interesting. Like honestly, when they were seeing it and everything like that, and especially when they were seeing it like on like the movie screen and everything like that, and they started to like be like very they started getting terrified with that. You know.
Yeah, another theory out there is that Phil didn't die, but we see Ted and Susie like corpsed or um, dead. Where Phil, he just looks like he's still intact, and I'm like, no, Phil's dead too.
Yeah,
I don't see
it's
why
just
Pennywise would keep him
That's
alive.
just Pennywise just messing with them.
Yeah, if he is alive, he's just maybe on his way being dead. Maybe a couple of limbs have been knocked down.
Yep.
Maybe he kept him as like a leftover until he starts killing more kids. I really don't know because again, once we get into episode 5, that could answer a little more questions what Pennywise has been doing,
Yeah.
and why is he now? It goes back to what Will said in episode 4, where like he's playing with his food, he's trying to marinate the kids to be more scared and more fearful, so they taste better. Maybe that was a
I
really
think
good
that's what it.
theory.
I think honestly, that's
Yeah.
what it really is because he loves children the most than adults because I
Well,
guess they
children's
treat
easy to scare. That's why I see him going
yeah,
after children.
exactly.
You know. Um, what do you think of the reveal about how Pennywise is stuck in Derry and why he hasn't gone anywhere else?
I think that was interesting. They actually explained his origin story. You know.
To a certain degree. I think that we got the answer of like how he got to Derry. We also learned why he's stuck in Derry, why he hasn't gone anywhere else, and why he's still in Maine, which because of the pillars. But the only question I got was a little confusion where Holleran, when he talks to Rose's nephew, and he gets those answers, the pillars are in a house. So I got a little confused with that. I didn't know if the pillars are
I didn't
all
know
that.
because it's the
Yeah.
same house from the It movies. You can tell.
Yeah. Because I think that's where he landed at. That's the house is probably covering where his domain is.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they weren't clear enough. Because I don't think the pillars are all 13 are still surrounding Derry to keep him in Derry. And I
Yeah.
think the house is just like not the black spot, but like his domain where the ship was and all that stuff. So that's
Yep.
where he's located, you know. But we'll know more in episode 5. I think episode 5 will go a little more details on that. Um, do you have a favorite character so far?
So far I do like the character. I thought the character Richie because when I heard the name Richie, and I was just like, oh, wait a second. I'm like, I know it's a different Richie, but I was just thinking like, oh, maybe it's his great grandfather or something. Like, no, this ain't the
No,
same.
it's completely different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I figured it
described,
out. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm really hoping that we get Pennywise say "B beat Richie" or something,
They
because it's
probably
like,
will. They probably will. Just for just they have to. It would be funny if they
yeah.
actually do
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
and doing an It prequel. I mean, how can you not have a Richie in there? So
Beat,
I
beat,
like that too.
beat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that as well. Just the town as well. I mean, we saw Henry Bowers' great grandfather, who was like the police chief, and how he's running things. It
That
just
was
looked
him. See, that was him. Yeah.
Bowers' grandfather.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but so far he is a bit of a bully. He is a bit prejudiced. He is prejudiced. He is racist. We kind of pick up a little bit of that, but
We figured out
I'm
how like
very curious to see like what pushes him over the edge because we learned Hank why he not willing to confess where he was is that he was with a white girl. We know back in the '60s if there's interracial couples, you can get killed or hung or whatever that was going on back then. So he's more terrified of that he's rather go to jail for killing kids than admitting that he had an affair with a white girl. But who is that? Who's clearly she was married to someone, and I think whoever that someone is who he's more terrified of, which I think could be Henry Bauer, Henry Bauer's grandfather.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because that kind of makes sense, I guess, why he would be terrified.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll find out who, because right now it just seems like Henry Bauer is just kind of like, Henry Bauer, Chief Bowers is just kind of like doing his thing, but like he's being patient and fair with some people to a certain degree. I mean, we haven't seen him have those outbursts of like hatred and anger and racism like Henry does in the movies or in the book. So I'm very curious to see where that gets triggered from, because we know Henry's dad was an abusive guy. I'm sure the grandfather was also abusive to his kids too, to his father too. So I'm just curious to see what kind of trigger points we're going to get because we know Pennywise controls the town.
Yeah, exactly.
So very, very interested to see where episode 5 goes.
Yeah.
Well, did you catch any references or Easter eggs?
I did. I found like a lot of Easter eggs that they're actually trying to like introduce, like you said, so many of them.
Right. Yeah. The other interesting I'm curious to see more about is Rose and Francis and their timeline because we now know because we met Rose I think in episode 3 with that flashback because that's when we were first introduced to her and her and Francis where even Francis when he Shaw when he comes
Yeah.
back he's now remembering his childhood with Rose and all that other stuff. I'm very curious to see where that goes in episode 5 because we know they're going to have another confrontation, especially when she knows that they detained her nephew,
Yeah.
and she knows what he's doing, and we're gonna see a scene with what Shaw's trying to really do, and Rose is telling him the truth. You can't control it.
No, you really can't. That's the
And
thing. Yeah,
yeah,
he can change into anything he wants just to frighten you. Yeah.
yeah, and that, but I don't think he understands what he's going up against because
Yeah.
Holland when he confronted Pennywise in episode 3, he had no idea what exactly he was going up against.
Nope.
And that's I'm I'm very curious to see where that goes to. We know that the military is going to invade the house where Pennywise is located.
Yeah.
I expect Pennywise to rip them all apart and kill them, and we're going to see another big massacre with Pennywise. Because I know in the book there's a black spot where like a house gets burns down with the KKK. So I think they're going to take some inspiration from that with probably Holleran's base with his guys. I don't know, but that's been a theory out there. So that's we know house is going to get burned. We know Hank's in there. We know Richie's in there. We know they tease Holleran and I think Ronnie together with Pennywise covered in blood. We know something's going to happen with Lily, Marge. We know, but the one thing we don't know is what happens to Will. So
Yep.
I'm very curious to see where that goes. We know Will does survive. We know Leroy survives.
Yep.
We know Holleran survives. So I think, in my opinion, by the end of the show, those are going to be the only three characters that lives on.
True.
I expect, yeah.
What do you think for honestly, for season 2? Do you think we're going to continue with the same characters, or do you think it's going to be a whole new cast?
It's going to be a whole new cast because they're going to 1935 after
Yeah.
62
Okay.
because we're going to explore more of the mafia stuff because we saw that car stuck in the pond.
Yeah, I can see that happening. So we're actually going to be doing that.
Yeah, and we'll probably see Rose again. Maybe I'm not sure who else we can see. Maybe a couple of other characters that's brand new. Maybe another variation of the Losers Club.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what season 2 is going to really set up and why we should be invested in season 2. Why are we going back to 1935? What are some of the questions that season 1 won't answer, but season 2 will?
Yeah.
There's a few other things that too I have as well. I want to think about. But overall, we have 4 more episodes left. And what do you think of the behind the scenes stuff with the special effects being used? What's your thoughts on how the special effects have been done so far?
I think they're doing great. A fantastic job so far. Especially I do like the scene with that pickle jar scene where that
Yeah,
girl is looking at the jar, and it's her dad. I guess she did terrible things to her, that his daughter, the daughter, and she's trying to forget, and Pennywise decides to do disgusting disturbing stuff, and it looks very well done for special effects.
yeah, yeah. I agree. The special effects so far has been better. I think episode 1's a little wonky, but 2, 3, and 4 I thought have gone a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lily, I think she has a lot of guilt trip. Her dad was killed in a pickle machine because he was trying to get something for her or whatever it was, and he fell in, and
Yep.
that's how he died. And then she goes to the police because she doesn't want to go back to the mental hospital. Um, she says that Ronnie's father was the one who killed those kids, which we know that's not true. But again, she continues to put herself in these situations where ends up being her fault that these things are happening because that's what she continues to do. She doesn't want to. She wants to run away and blame someone else or do something else, and it just causes another chain of reaction.
Yeah.
As for Marjorie, I mean, she just wants to be part of the group she just wants to be accepted by somebody. But again, the actress has done a good job making you not like her. So I'm kind of rooting for her to get killed at some point. I don't see them killing her anytime soon yet. Another trailer.
I think they'll kill her in probably the final episode or whatever.
Yeah, I think maybe I can see episode 7 being the final. I feel like episode 7 is going to be that big craziness. We're going to see Pennywise just kind of munch on kids and adults and whatever else is going on. I'm very curious to know what happens to Charlotte because, Pennywise isn't going to let somebody run around stirring shit up. So I'm very curious to see what he does with that. We know there's a giant mist that comes to the town. I'm very curious to see how that's triggered. Is that the same mist from the movie The Mist with another Stephen King story?
Yeah, Stephen King. I'm curious about that too.
That's another thing I'm very interested in see where that goes. Do you think we'll get an appearance of the turtle?
I believe so. I think they'll either tease it or maybe show a little of it.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get another flashback or something of Pennywise or the entity going after the turtle or something. We might get some kind of some quick shots of the two or something. I don't know because there's been so much turtle stuff going on.
Yeah.
What do you think of the look of Derry? I really like the 1962
I like
look.
what they did with it. It's very well done. They could try to bring it to that generation and everything like that back then. So they've done a very good job with it.
Oh yeah. What do you think of the patty cake characters and how how vicious they are towards Lily?
I think their characters are very well done, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Trying to think what other yeah, you
Oh,
mentioned the cemetery. Yeah.
the cemetery one, yeah, yeah. Because like when they were trying to get pictures to see that this creature, like it actually exists or whatever, because like the grown-ups didn't believe them at all. Yeah.
Yeah, then in the next episode they're trying to show the police like look, and then the pictures are all the 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 flying zombies are not there anymore, and they're like, "What is this?" But you still get a shot of Pennywise, and they're trying to point that out. I'm like, "Oh, that's a statue of a clown." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, and I think it's a
Um,
statue, which just like you can tell it's not even a statue.
no, not at all. But
Yeah.
that was interesting where they were like, "You gotta be kidding!" Like they were just really frustrated that no one sees what they see. And it's just Pennywise just having his power over the town with the adults, and a lot of the adults just don't have any urgency to find missing children. There's so many of them, but they don't seem to care.
Yeah.
And it's just Pennywise, just whatever it is he's doing, he's got them to follow what he wants them to do. I guess. I'm sure that'll be a question that'll be answered maybe later in season one or season two.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I did like the scene with Halloran where he has that where does meet Pennywise, but we do see that big shot of the sewer with all the kids floating up in the sky, and
Yeah, we got that really
yeah,
quickly, so you know what that means right there. They float down here, or like the dead lights.
yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah.
interesting.
And I did like that we saw that Native American story about how we saw the deadlights, where like
Yep.
Pennywise or the shapeshifter or whatever, the Gulu, he's just creepy old man, or changing to things that scares the Native Americans, and we do
Yeah,
get a shot of the deadlights. We usually see a shot of his teeth, so we know that there's times we're going to see a little bit of his full form here and there,
yeah.
um, which was really cool. I really like that scene a lot with the Native Americans. I thought that was like some of the best stuff we got, and I like that we got at the very end where it paid off to some stuff that, like us fans, we just want to know more about the story of it and Pennywise.
No, it
Um,
makes sense.
that's what I'm really very interested to see going forward.
Yeah.
What do you think? 'Cause episode 5, I think we could get a um, that girl that Lily's talking to. That could be the daughter of the actual Pennywise.
Yeah, it actually could be.
Yeah, that's been a theory going around for a while that she could actually be just another part of the Pennywise or it entity thing that's taken over a lot of stuff. Where she kept referring to her dad, and I know some people pointed out that you don't see her reflection in the mirror like a zombie or a vampire or whatever. Um, I'm kind of like, okay, wait and see with what comes out of that. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm curious to see what because we know from what it looks like in that previous the new trailer or teaser. It looks like Lily kind of goes in that lady's house and she starts discovering that what she's looking at is what she's been seeing with Pennywise or it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm very curious to see what pays off from that, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the old lady we see in 2019.
Yeah, pretty much. I
The
believe
creepy
that.
old lady that Beverly meets in chapter 2.
Yeah, it makes a lot of
I
sense.
wonder if that's the same character,
It honestly could be.
you know, because when Beverly goes into that house, she starts seeing old pictures of the clown and all this stuff, and um,
I remember he was so excited too. Like he was like jumping for joy. Like he's like, "Oh wow, I haven't seen this one. This is the one I want."
yeah, right. So
Excited.
I'm very yeah, Tina Rush, who plays the character. There's no, if you look her up, there's really no like who's she playing. They haven't really officially tell you who she's
They're
playing, but we
keeping it a
know.
surprise and a secret. Yeah.
Yeah, we just know she's like the nurse from the mental hospital. But we know there's more to her because it's pretty much leading on to that there's something about her that's really bad vibes. So I'm like, all right, cool. We'll probably get that maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
So do you think like for the when they're done with this season and then hopefully
what's up,
within
John?
the next season,
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. What's up?
you know, so
Said John?
hopefully Yeah, so hopefully, after this season or whatever, maybe next year they'll come up with like that season or every I don't know, like either like 1 year or 2 years. I'm guessing would be released for the next season.
Uh, I'm okay with them taking their time with it. I do
Yeah,
like that. One thing I say with HBO, they have people who know how to write good storytelling, especially with TV and miniseries.
correct.
Last year we got The Penguin. This year we got Welcome to Derry, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
They're really good with like really giving you something from a movie, and turn it into a show or a spinoff or whatever. I really like that HBO's really been knocking that part out of the park.
yeah,
Um, I'm just amazed that they're able to get Bill Skarsgård to come back to reprise his role as Pennywise, because I think originally this was going to be called Welcome to Derry, and then once they got Bill Skarsgård to come back, they changed to being called It Welcome to
yeah.
Derry,
Welcome to Derry. Yeah,
which who knows if that was a studio thing or a showrunner thing, but I'm glad they got him to come back to reprise his role, because he made that character iconic for a modern audience. Which my favorite is still Tim Curry, because I just think he brought a really, for a guy who was just dressed up as a clown, his voice was just so scary and intimidating, and he was very playfully at the same time. Where like
right.
Bill Skarsgård, he just, even though he doesn't bring that kind of voice the way Tim Curry does, just his facial, right, just how he changes his face, during all that makeup, and give you that scary, creepy, irky smile,
Yeah,
and just what he does with his facial reactions. Um, I think that also makes him great too. It just shows that both actors did a great job playing the character,
yeah,
but they brought something different between the two of them, which I like as well.
yeah. Makes sense.
Um, what other things have we missed? What do you think of the music so far? Did you see the
Oh,
opening?
it's good. Yeah,
The
I love
intro?
the opening. Yeah, it does give you like a lot of stuff away and everything what they're gonna do with next season. So yeah, I believe
They're
season
teasing
2
some
is gonna
stuff.
be
They're
upstairs.
definitely teasing some stuff. Yeah, we don't really know much about it yet. We know this. The one I'm curious about was the was when the person's on the operating table and his eyes open, they're about to stab him in the eye or something.
Hmm.
Um, that I'm very curious to see where that comes from.
So is that gonna be like possibly on the final season or maybe season 2 or 3? I mean, I
Maybe
don't know.
season two. I can see it being season two. They haven't really.
Yeah,
I mean, I was surprised we got something from 1908
right.
in episode three with the
Yeah,
flashback with Rose and Shaw.
yeah,
Because I was like, oh, I didn't know. I wasn't expecting them to kind of take us all the way back to 1908.
yeah,
We even see, yeah, with Shaw as well, and as a kid at the carnival where he meets this lady clown that might be Pennywise's daughter,
yeah,
a very younger. So I'm very curious to see what other surprises. Um, for a show that's only giving you 4 episodes, it's just so much you're getting, and it's like an hour-long episode, which I love. We're not getting 30-minute episodes; we're getting a full hour episode. And once that hour episode ends, I can't wait to listen to what the behind-the-scenes stuff and the direction they wanted to go into.
yeah. I agree.
Um, what else do we? Is there anything else we're missing? I feel we kind of, I know we kind of like talked all over the place.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
You
we're
know,
very excited about it. Even though we did talk
yeah,
all over the place, we broke down mostly everything what we liked about the show, the characters, and everything. And hopefully, and of course, I believe in the next episode, they're going to show it, aka, Pennywise with Bill
well,
Skarsgård. Yeah.
yeah, they already announced he's going to be making his final. He's going
Oh,
to
good,
finally make his first appearance in the show.
good. All right.
Because I think the trailer kind of gives you a few scenes of episode five, a
Yeah.
few scenes of episode six, seven, and eight.
Yep.
Because I think that last shot with Halloran and Ronnie,
Mm,
I think that could be the season finale or
oh, makes
episode
sense.
seven. Because I feel like episode seven is going to be that big climatic, wild craziness. People are going to be like, can't believe, like that Red Wedding type episode that you're just going to like lose your freaking mind over. Like, you
Yeah.
can't believe they did this. You can't believe they killed this person. Because right now we're due to see some kids or people getting killed. We haven't seen anybody getting killed yet
Oh,
since the
cool.
first episode. I'm not really crazy about all the theories. I think the one that I also heard was Matt being alive. He's long dead. He's dead. Even though they didn't show it, I do believe he's dead. We see Pennywise using him as a shape shifting when we saw him in the theater, so I'm pretty
Yep.
sure he's dead.
He
As for
is.
Phil, we haven't seen him do anything with Phil yet. If he's alive, I think that he's barely hanging on, and I think that the other thing is that He could be in that hypno state that Beverly was in chapter one. If you remember what I'm talking about, do you remember where
Yeah,
Beverly
I do remember that.
yeah, and she's kind of like um floating up in floating in there in the
Yep.
air.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what's going on with Phil. Maybe that's the only explanation I can see why maybe he's still alive. Pennywise could still use him for some reason. We don't know.
Hmm.
But I do think by the end of the show, we know Pennywise wins, and the question is, other than Holland, Will, and Leroy, who else survives with them?
Yeah.
Because when you go in chapter one, it's like nothing ever happened. This was all wiped away. We do see Leroy, but like again, in chapter one, it looks like he's lost hope.
Yeah.
Because
Those.
whatever happened, and that's probably gonna tie into what happened in season one, where like Charlotte gets killed, um, and then probably in the most horrible way, and the kids get killed, and it's just Leroy and Will, and
I'm I'm
they're
guessing that.
everything. Yeah, good.
I'm guessing that what they're gonna do for the final season will be very shocking, gruesome, and like really disturbing if they're gonna do that. You know?
Yeah, I mean they're not afraid to show childbirth on here, so I'm pretty sure they're
Nope.
gonna try to up it again. And
Yeah.
we're due for some kills. I mean, after 3 episodes, after episode one, we need to see Pennywise. If we're gonna see Pennywise come back in episode five, I mean, we're not just seeing him just to make an appearance. We want to see him start killing some kids. Or sorry to
Yep.
say it, but if you're
Has to
watching the
happen.
show, I mean, this is what you're going to be getting with Pennywise.
Yep. Has to
Um,
happen.
yeah. Um,
Some kids. It has to
but,
happen.
but overall, love the tone. It fits well with chapter one and chapter two.
Yeah.
I think after the series after season one's over, I'm going to probably go back and rewatch chapter one and chapter two. I'm not in a rush to watch them now because I want to kind of like watch this, and when this ends, I can go and watch chapter one. Because
Yeah.
that's what it's going to set up for you to go and watch chapter one.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I'm kind of curious why we didn't start at 1908 and we're starting at 1962. Why are we going backwards? Where like chapter one kind of started at 80, the 80s was it
Chapter one
89?
started in the 80s. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
89 or something like that. And then
Yeah.
27 years later, it's 2017, 18, whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. We move forward, so I'm very curious to see how this goes.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
I was gonna say this. Yeah, they're gonna be releasing this on physical copy, which I'll be picking up. Probably a steelbook of It Welcome to Derry, and maybe when the seasons are over and done with, they'll release a special limited edition with, for the first time, the director's cut of the It movies part one and two with brand new scenes in it, stuff like that, and that will get me like collectors to pick it up ASAP. Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going back to read of the writing for the show.
Done.
Musetti said that there's a reason why we're going backwards. The biggest point he does mention is that the first season is just an open window of the story, and then 2 and 3 will manifest it into the focus of why Pennywise stays in Derry and why he could go when he could go somewhere else, and that he takes advantage of children because obviously we know adults don't understand, but it's interesting. So
Yeah.
you know, uh, and also explore the curse of the town and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see um, what other stuff we're going to see. I mean, let's say this is the tip of the iceberg. Season one has to end somehow. Season one has to end in a way where like you want to see what happens or the why of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I gotta say I give the first 4 episodes, if I had to give them one score, it'd be probably a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I'll lean to 8.5 out of 10 for now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would have given it a higher score or whatever, but there is a lot of exposition, but that doesn't stop me. And I thought this show is great. And I do recommend people, if they never watched this before or anything like that, I would definitely highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think episode one I can give that a 9.5 out of 10. 2 and 3 I can give that maybe like an 8 and an 8, an 8 out of 10 and an 8 out of 10, and then I think 4 I can give that like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that might equal out to like maybe 8.5 out of 10. But they've been coming out banger after banger after banger. So I'm excited to see what they do next with episode 5. That comes out November 23rd, this Sunday. the return of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, which we've all been waiting for that clown to come back. So,
Sure,
yeah,
right before Thanksgiving and the holidays,
yeah, and just in time before Stranger Things comes back too.
Yes, I'm excited for that. It's the final season too,
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for us. Digital, do you have anything you want to throw out there about your channel or anything?
Oh yeah, I'll be coming back soon, guys, or whatever. And I've been dealing with a lot of stuff that's been, complicated to like say and everything like that. Family issues, stuff like that. But I'll be coming back soon. But on top of that, I'll be real with you right now. The reason why I took a long time on my channel, my other phone, I got the black screen of death, and I got a brand new phone, and then it's the brand new iPhone and everything like that. So it just takes a while getting used to this type of software and everything like that. I mean, even though I have an
Yeah.
Apple computer, it's my first time like having an iPhone. Yeah.
Nice, man. Catch me on the Cool Kids review. I'm sure we're gonna have some more reviews coming up this weekend. I think this weekend. I know they just did the Running Man and Predator Badlands, which is up now. You guys can check that out with my friends, Cool Kids. And then I'm on still. Huh?
Did you see that movie by any chance?
I didn't see Running Man. I saw Predator Badland.
Oh, okay. How was it?
I thought it was just okay. A little boring, but mostly it was just okay. It wasn't bad. It was still a good movie. It's just the first half felt a little boring because there was a lot of subtitles you had to read because you're following the predator.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a good movie. I thought it was okay.
Oh.
Running Man, I have yet to see yet, but I'm hoping to see it soon. I've heard mixed things about it. I heard it was a good movie, but I hear it's a little mixed. But I'm probably gonna check that out soon. Trying to think what other. Oh, and you also catch me on Storm Nation every other Sunday with Robert Storm and my friends as well. And then I'm gonna try whenever Austin does a good old wrestling, I'll probably jump on that as well. So yeah, this is I'll be doing some videos here and there talking about things I want to talk about with digital and many things that we love to talk about, like Pennywise and it and some other stuff that I'm sure we'll probably talk about. Maybe Stranger Things would be a thing we could talk about. Or a movie or two that we maybe we'll see and talk about too. But yeah, thank you for those who are watching, and y'all have a good night.
Take care, y'all. Later.
Later. Peace.